today I'm going to be talking about making your content AI friendly. As Yen mentioned, I'm Mary Liebowitz. I'm a lead content strategist, and my job here at Georgia Technology Authority is to help Georgia state agencies offer websites that are usable, accessible, and inclusive. And today I'm going to talk about how AI impacts our work as content managers and what we can do to set up our content in preparation. So let's start with digital content from an AI perspective. Many of us rely on AI every day without thinking about it too deeply. We use natural language interfaces as virtual assistants. I'm not going to name them out loud in case I set anyone's off. We use platforms that make predictive machine learning recommendations, and they can guide what we might want to watch or buy next. Our credit cards use AI algorithms to analyze purchasing patterns and detect potential fraud, and some cars use them to help people drive. Maybe you already use a generative AI tool like ChatGPT to help structure something that you're writing or generate alt text for images. Today, we're going to look at the functions of AI specifically for content managers, and we're looking at search functionality and where this meets the websites that we manage. When we talk about making content AI friendly, there are two sides to this work. On one side, we want content that is designed to perform well. The content that we create must have a distinct purpose and let people be able to find it, so we design content to be findable by AI tools. On the other side, the reality is that many of us manage content that we inherited when we started the job. Some of it comes from different business areas or writers. It's not ideal, and we just hope that it's not seen as a bad reflection of the organization. And for content managers in government, this is the elephant of the room. We don't always have all of the resources that we need. But for us, AI serves as a reminder that content must be built on a deliberate foundation of logic. So if you're at home and you stub your toe on a piece of furniture, you might accidentally let out a 4-letter word. But if you yell out this word in front of an enthusiastic little learner, they will randomly yell out this word in the middle of the supermarket. And in that moment, this is all the information that people have about you. But hopefully today can give you some inspiration for things that you can tackle as your resources allow. Whatever state your content is in, it's a great time to examine and optimize your content. We don't want AI search tools parroting out the things that we just hoped no one would look at too closely. So let's see what we can clear up. Let's look at a generalized walkthrough of how some search tools work with AI, just to set the stage. So search engines send out programs called bots or spiders that crawl the web. They read content and they follow links. And when they find a page, they make a copy and store it in a gigantic index. Whenever someone types a question or a phrase into a search engine, the machine tries to understand the intent or the meaning of what the person is looking for. This is called query understanding or understanding the user query. And the machine looks at the patterns of the query and predicts what the user wants. Search engines use AI algorithms, essentially a set of instructions, to analyze the content of web pages stored in its index. These algorithms look at elements like the words on the page, the titles, the headings, and so on. When a search engine is used, the algorithms check the index to find pages that seem relevant to the meaning of the query. The results are ranked for factors that are connected to that relevance. AI tools analyze how users interact with search results, such as which links people actually click on, how long they spend on the page, and whether or not these search results were successful. This feedback or learning loop helps search engines continually improve their results. So meaning, it's how you know what the thing is. We get meaning from the words we choose and from their context. If I see the word cookie, I know what I think of first. I also know what the other cookie is, but I don't want that. I want the first thing. So I look to context. The question is, want cookie, but who is asking? If it's my mom, she only knows the first kind, so always yes. If it's a website, no. So they might actually be asking me to consent to a cookie. But a search engine also needs context, which starts just like this with words that are paired together. Are you interested in cookie decorating ideas, cookie monster costumes, cookie policy examples, the cookie clicker video game? An AI tool looks at the pattern of your request in context and predicts what information is most relevant to you. The process of humans uncovering the meaning of language is what we call semantics. When AI tools look at a web page, they also draw context from the components of that page, like the metadata, the labels, and the hierarchy of information. In technology, these are known as the semantic components because they help machines to shape meaning in our content. So how is meaning conveyed between content and machine capabilities? This is a quote from a Google article. Google uses structured data that it finds on the web to understand the content of the page, as well as to gather information about the web and the world in general, such as information about the people, books, or companies that are included in the markup. This is from Introduction to Structured Data Markup in Google Search. So Google says that it uses structured data to understand the content of the page and gather information about the web and the world in general. This is worded a little bit loftily, but it speaks to the last part, information about people, books, or companies. It's looking at the patterns of what are the relationships and order of the things on this page to be able to build context. Structured data markup is code that can be added to websites. This visual example is taken from the Digital Services and Solutions site, which is on the Georgia GovHub platform. And the code is a standardized format so that we all agree to use the same thing. It chunks data into predefined relationships so that the connections between data points can be seen, and the context of a relationship can be small, or it can also scale up as digital content evolves and grows. Markup turns information into information containing encoded values. So wherever the information goes, it also takes its attributes with it, neatly labeled. And structured data markup is already added to GovHub websites to optimize content for machine readability. So let's take a look at the actual work. Organizations that want to optimize content for AI need the skills and expertise that you've already built up as content managers, like creating structure and organization, designing for the user, supporting information connections, having a view of content in parts and holistically, and continually reviewing, iterating, and maintaining our content. This is the human work that optimizes content to interact well with AI tools. And the optimization work that we're talking about is important because content is an asset. All of the research and decisions and production that go into a website take time and money. So content is an asset because it represents data and knowledge of the entire agency. And the benefits of optimizing digital content for AI stretch across other areas. Good machine readability also supports the work of accessibility. Structured data on a page lets programs make sense of things and see relationships. It also supports more concise search results, letting residents quickly find the accurate information they need right from the source. And when you work in government, you have a responsibility to be effective stewards of information and manage your budgets efficiently and cost effectively. Routinely doing this foundational content and maintenance work to keep content accurate and well organized is better for budgets. So keeping machine readability in mind helps to keep our content in check. Now we'll look at some ideas to help you identify some potential tasks and just start conversations about what might need to be done. To get started optimizing content for AI, it's a good idea to shape your strategy. You have to align your work with some anchors within the organization, whether as a team or through SME interviews. But doing it with others is much better than trying to do it in a vacuum. So when you work through this, you might want to think about foundational things like, what is the purpose of your website? This could be a group activity to help everyone focus on what the website is there to do and how to provide information for the user's perspectives and needs. What are your processes to create, review, or publish content? And who's responsible for the body of information? Who are your owners? Reviewing this can help you see where you need to set a schedule to review content, or that someone needs to take ownership of a process or a section of content. To keep everyone on track, you might need to implement or update your content guidelines. This is a snippet from 18F's content guide. If you edit your content, you know that there are certain points that should be included in this. These are all going to be unique to your organization, and they can help you clarify your standards, like the reading level that you use, or that you should be using plain language, or what a header should include. In addition to having structured data markup in place that labels your data and gives it context, it's also good to review the information architecture or the hierarchy of how information is presented on your website. You want it to make sense as a whole and in its individual groupings to the user. And maybe one part of your hierarchy has changed, and you can safely remove anything with the old label and the content that's related to it so that the whole of the website makes clear sense again. You can also conduct a content inventory to get an overview of everything that's on the website. You might have forgotten about some buried, outdated content that an AI tool can still see. You don't want there to be potential for conflicting information, so you can audit your content and get rid of any outdated or inaccurate information. And when you identify your website's purpose and then organize the website to support the purpose, AI tools can recognize how to drive users there to the information that they need. By knowing who your users are, what they need to accomplish on your website, and what will guide them successfully, you're designing for them. You want to create good paths of information for their needs from their perspective by chunking information together in ways that can serve them. They want to know, once I have the form, what do I do with the form? They're not asking you to present the department that provides the form and present the department that processes the form. They just want to do the thing. So you want to make information findable for them and then also help them to discover relevant information. Because when you get in the mindset of designing specifically for your users to navigate information, you're mapping it out for the machine as well. And what digital resources does your agency have out there that staff might use to find an answer, or that the public might search for or come across? And are they all consistent? Are they all up to date? When we talk about all of the messaging you might have out there, we refer to it as a content ecosystem. So you want to review your content ecosystem to get a full picture of the messaging and resources that drive the understanding of who you are as an organization. And you want to align your content across channels, your purpose, your processes, and your standards, and look at them as your users would discover them. And you might find that you want to eliminate some distortions or the occurrences of incorrect or duplicate information across your content that doesn't serve your content as a whole. You're going to zoom in and out of content to understand how AI tools might be understanding or misunderstanding you. And to support AI readability, you want to use the content types and content fields for your website as they are designed to be used. These are screen grabs from GovHub. These help AI tools to discern how the content is understood. I also encourage you to reuse content, because when you create and name a new piece of content and it has a specific purpose, it can then be the standard point of information across the website. You can reuse it across different pages, which also means that you can maintain the website much more easily. And the connections that you create here support the work of AI tools. And lastly, the work of content management is iterative. Your content is going to continue to grow and evolve, and your understanding of the work as a whole is also going to change. So by doing some foundational tasks to optimize your content for AI, you're going to be able to continue to maintain it more easily in ways that serve your users and in patterns that AI tools can easily understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. You mentioned a few times about audits and aligning content consistently. How often like we should an agency reasonably tackle that? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
I think it depends on the size of the agency and the amount of digital content that they're working with. And also, we just don't always have all the resources that we need. If you're a team of one who's going to be doing this, and maybe you've got 10,000 lines of URLs in the first content inventory that you do, you might want to give yourself a little bit of extra time to go through anything that you've inherited. And then you can do it twice a year or quarterly. I mean, at a minimum, I would do it once every year just to make sure that the information is up to date. But it really depends on, you know, what you have to be able to do that.
That sounds reasonable to me, once a year. I would like to add, that is something that you've helped other agencies with, just to get started, right? And so if there's anyone out there that feels like I'm a little overwhelmed, that's something we can help them out with, right? Just to get started on what that process might look like, and then they can repeat that year after year.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.